Hi everyone, my name is Miss Thomas and I am the art teacher at George Washington Carver Elementary School. And today we are going to be making landscapes using Sharpies.
Wow.
Now I haven't met too many people that hate Sharpies because they're fun colors, they're bold, they're easy to use and color with. But do you know that Sharpies are capable of so much more? From layering to adding detail, this is a lesson that you will not want to miss. So if you don't have Sharpies, this will work well with any type of markers, whether they're permanent or washable. It should still do the same job. And I'm going to lead you step by step on how to create this beautiful landscape. So let's get to it. Now from the get-go, one of my favorite reasons for using Sharpies is that it's no hassle, it's no mess, there's no towels or paintbrushes or water. When I don't feel like painting, Sharpies is one of my go-to items. And in this tutorial, we're going to work from light to dark. So I'll often use the lighter version of a color before switching to dark, because as you know, with markers we can't always make it lighter, but we can definitely make it darker. So I just want to encourage you guys to be loose. Don't worry about messing up. We're here to experiment, learn, and explore, and I guarantee you'll be surprised by your outcome. So what I'm going to do is taking a regular Sharpie, and you see that it's lime green. I'm going to start laying the groundwork for my landscape, and I'm just going to shade in lightly. You see that I'm not really being neat at this point. The whole goal is just to get down the color, just like you would in paint. Painters are rarely, I guess, timid about their strokes. So we're going to be bold with our strokes. So I'm just going to lay in an area of green. See that I'm coloring it in. This video is going to be all about layering color. So I'm just going to keep going in with my light green, lime green, whatever type of green you have. Perfect. And I'm just going to go up here. What we're doing right now, like I said, we're laying the groundwork for hills and grass and things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep coloring. Now you can make your hills however big you want them to be. It is up to you. I'm just going to lay a little groundwork. You see I have like a little space right here. Maybe I'll put a river right there, but it's up to you how you want to lay your grounds. And then we're going to be moving on to the second step pretty soon here. Alright, so for this next step, I'm just layering some blue in here because my background is going to be a sky blue. So I took my blue marker and I'm just laying in color here. Notice how it's not perfect. I'm not being colorful. There's still white spaces in between, and that's okay. So take your blue marker and just make some strokes across the sky. Like I said, we can get darker and we can get darker as we please. You can't get lighter, so just take your time. We're thinking of Sharpies today as paintbrushes. So we're just gonna put that color in there and don't worry about it. So I'm just going to layer that color in there. I'm not going to go back and fill in every white space because the goal is not to be, like I said, perfect, but just to get the color down. And then you can go back and add as you please. But right now we're just going for a basic idea. Alright. So if you all can see what I have so far, you see I have strokes of blue Sharpie and I have my grass down there. Alright, so if you guys are following along with me, this is what I have so far. Now it's time to add in those colors, and this is one of my favorite parts. I can't wait. So we see that the sky is at the top. What I'm going to do is, now I'm going to take a darker blue and I have this blue greenish color Sharpie. What I'm going to do is I am going to just layer in some more color right around where I have my grass, which is that lighter color Sharpie. I'm just going to add some colors just like that. You notice how I'm doing it from the bottom. So my sky is going to have some value. It's going to be lighter at the top, then it's going to get darker as I layer in these different blue colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some color to the bottom of the hill. So we'll see a clear division between the sky and what's going down at the bottom. Alright. And if you guys notice how I'm using it as a paintbrush. I'm not really pointing, I'm just like using the side of my Sharpie. Feel free to do that with your marker, whatever you have, and just sort of just swipe that color on. Like I said, we're not trying to be perfect. Let's just swipe that color on. I'm going to take my darkest blue color and just sort of go in there and maybe add a little bit more. And see, it's getting really, really dark down here, which is sort of what I want. Alright, I'm not going to add too much of that. But just be quick and fluid with those Sharpie strokes. And a fun thing to note about Sharpies is that if I see that and let's say it's looking a little too bright for me, I can go back in with a lighter color and just sort of X that out. It does add like another layer that sort of tones it down. So I can go back with my other Sharpies and just sort of blur up that color a little bit. Now guys, for me personally, I'm going to add in like a little ghost hill and just sort of put another one back here using my lighter color, because now it's going to not be as bright since we have the sky filled in. So I'm just going to sort of go back in there and just add in like another hill somewhere back there. And then we're going to add in some trees, okay? So I have like a little ghost hill back here. I'm going to just let that go into the other hill. So isn't that awesome, guys? So you see how coloring over that blue Sharpie, it actually looks like this hill is further back in the distance. So let's go ahead and add those trees in now. And what I'll do is I'll take a darker color. Let's say I'll take a green color and just add in some like little outlines of trees in the back here. And I think I'll make them evergreen trees. And for those who are, I know my students will get it, but the reason why I'm using green for the trees and not brown is because such brown is like a dark color. I'm going to use a color that sort of blends in with the background so the trees can look like they're further back in the distance. So I'm just going to sort of add some things here. I'm going to make them evergreen trees. You see, I'm just going back and forth with those motions. So before we finish up down here, I'm going to take my blue Sharpie, since it's going to blend in with what I have going back on here. And since I have some space, I'm just going to like maybe put in a mountain back here to take up some of that space. I'm just going to just sort of put in like an outline of a mountain back here. And notice how like my Sharpie strokes are not perfect, and that's okay. I'm just going to add like maybe 2 mountains back here. Maybe like that. And I'm just going to sort of fill those in. You guys will be able to see it soon. If you guys see my mountains, you see they're blue and I filled them in. And even though some of that got caught in my trees, I can always put more green Sharpie over it. So I'm going to just sort of blend up my tree right here. I'm going to use the colors that are in the background because then again, like I said, they'll blend in. So I'm going to take all those blue and green Sharpie, see if I can just sort of blend this out a little bit better before I finish up my last step here. And notice how we're using Sharpies as not just a mode of coloring, so to speak, like filling it inside the lines, but we're actually considering how we're layering the colors and we're making a piece of art. And notice that we haven't made one pencil mark on the page. This is all Sharpie, all color, similar to what painters do when they're painting. Now let's talk about that foreground. I'm going to go down here where my little river is. I'm going to take a darker blue and just sort of go back in there and add some layer to that river right there. Alright, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, awesome. Now I get to take my brown Sharpie. And I'm just going to add like some little brown outlines because that's going to be, you know, the little bit of brown you can see as it touches the water. Just going to add a little bit to the edge of my grass right here. Alright, so that's what I have, and now let's make the top of our hills really bright, and let's separate like the darkness and lightness between our hills. So I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm just going to just sort of make some dashes of color here at the top of my hills. Like that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Notice how I'm being like really free with my color. I'm not hesitating where it goes. I'm just letting it loose, like just letting that creativity loose. I'm letting those colors loose. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my darker green color and I'm just going to add some strokes down here to let them know that, you know, this side of the hill is not getting as much light. So I'm just going to just sort of lock in those layers of color. And I'm not going to cover the whole hill with the green, like I said. Too much dark and you won't be able to take it back. So I'm just going to add a few strokes of green down here. Just like that. And that's all the darkness I need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take purple. I'm going to take my purple, and you see I'm just going to add 2 lines in here. And you see how that's noticeably darker. I can even like use a little bit of black too to outline it just so it stands out more. Yeah, black and purple is good. What I'm going to do, since these 2 evergreen trees are at the very, you know, front of our picture, I'm going to use a mixture of black, purple, and blue to create these evergreen trees. So just like I did in the back, and see that's not as dark as I want it to be. So you know what, I can actually use some black right here. I want it to stand out. I want it to be darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black Sharpie, the most daunting of all Sharpies, right? I'm going to take that black Sharpie and just add in those evergreen leaves. You know how I'm just swishing my Sharpie back and forth into like the shape of an evergreen. I'm just going to swish that Sharpie back and forth. I'm going to swish it back and forth. Swish it. And these trees you'll definitely be able to see. So I'll come back in a minute. So guys, this is my first tree. I'm going to do my second one real quick and show you guys how it looks. Now guys, the last step is just details. You can add flowers and little details to your field. I actually use some of my color pencils as well to add in a few things here and there to sharpen up areas where I want it filled in. But that being said, that is your landscape, right? And I'm very proud of you guys, and you know what, you did this without drawing one pencil mark. It just shows you how much you can use, do with your colors, whether it's crayons, Sharpies, anything you have lying around the house to get a beautiful result like this. So it was awesome spending time with you guys, and I'll see you later.